Okay, so we're going to start. Oh my goodness, it's not going well tonight, is it? We're all wonky. Just bear with me 1 second. There we go. Okay, so we're going to start in our strong standing posture. So I'm not sure that's any better, but it's all good. Nice and grounded through the feet, connecting the feet to the ground and shifting side to side, exaggerating that movement by lifting up through the sides of the feet. Really great way of mobilizing through the feet. And we've got a gentle shift through the ankles, the knees, and the hips. And then from there, we're drawing forward onto the toes and back onto the heels, pressing the 10 toes down into the ground. And as we take it right up onto the toes, we're pressing down through the big toes and then shifting back to the heels, just awakening that core stabilization system. Pressing down through the big toes and then shifting back. We found that sweet spot at the top, so we can take it up there and hold it, and then we shift back. Once more. And then from there, we're going to take ourselves into a wide stance, and we're just going to dip through one side of the hip and then the other. Okay, so hands on the hips, and then we're dipping down through one side and then the other. As we do that, we're trying to keep the upper body still. Okay, so the movement comes around the pelvis and the hips. It comes from the pelvis and the hips. Okay, and from there, we're just going to push the pelvis forward, take it over to the side, scoop it round. So we're creating that circle, again, through the pelvis and the hips. Great if you're carrying any tension through the adductors, so the inner thighs. Great if you've got any restriction through the hip joints themselves. And then we're going to change direction. Side, scoop it round the back, side, push the hips forward. Again, really a really nice exercise just to warm everything up and mobilize around those hips and the pelvis. Okay, so from there, we're going to take it into a narrower stance, so feet hip width apart, and we're going to take ourselves into a bow. So usually we take the hands behind the back, and you can if you want. We're going to try it without. We're going to hinge through the hips, take a bow. But as we come forward, we're just going to push the pelvis forward. Girls. Girls. We're going to hinge through the hips, push the pelvis forward and squeeze through the glutes. Hinge through the hips, push the pelvis forward, squeeze through the glutes. Push forward, squeeze through the glutes. Hinge through the hips, push forward and squeeze through the glutes. Once more. Okay, so from there we're going to take a staggered stance. Okay, and we're going to take the hands to the side of the head. So I'm actually up onto the back toes, so not flat-footed through the back foot, just up onto those toes. Hands at the side of the head, so this is kind of my front view. Okay, and then from there, we're going to open through the hips and rotate round. Okay, so we're moving away from the front leg and opening through that pelvis. Okay, and then we're going to draw back to center, so the hips are facing forward. Gentle scoop under through the tailbone And then we're going to rotate to the other side. Okay, back to center. We open through the hips, we move away from that front leg. We will draw back to center, the hips and move, are facing forward, and then we rotate round. We're going to do that once more before we switch sides. Open through the hips. Okay, draw it back to center, rotate towards that front leg. We draw it back to center and we switch to the other side. So again, we are trying to be up onto the back toes. Nice position through the core center so we're not overarching. Okay, hands at the side of the head and we rotate away from the front leg. We draw it back to center. We rotate towards the front leg. Okay, and that's actually quite good to see with this top that I'm wearing, the impact it has on the body. So you can see we're working through the spiral line of the body. Draw it back to center. Okay, open through the hips. Draw it back to center. Rotate towards the front leg. Again, you can see the impact that we're having, that spiral line through the body and the kind of creases in my top. Okay, we draw it back to center. Once more, we open through the hips. We draw back to center. We rotate towards the front leg. We bring it back to center. We relax the arms down and we take it into a nice neutral stance. We're just going to roll through those shoulders so we glide forward, up and over, and open through the chest. So continue with that. I'm just going to try and attempt to straighten out the camera. A little bit better for a moment. Okay, so nice big shoulder rolls. That lovely release around the shoulders, the shoulder blades, the rib cage and the mid-back. We're going to do that once more. Glide forward, up and over, and open through the chest. Amazing. Okay, so from there, we're actually going to take ourselves down onto the mat, which is hilarious. Really pointless me changing the camera. Okay, so we're going to be down onto the mat as efficiently as we possibly can, and we're going to take ourselves into a seated position. And we're going to take those legs into a V shape. So we can use the hands down behind us to assist us. The goal here is to be as upright as possible, okay? So we should kind of aim to be able to hold this position without having to support ourselves with the hands. Now it feels quite nice to place those hands down, so I suggest everybody does that because we're going to add a little bit of something in to this position to create movement, okay? So incredible for the hips. We're going to lift, rotate round and lift up through one side, okay? So we lift one bum cheek and we rotate round. So we're rotating through the hips, okay? So one side to the other and we're getting that almost that kind of windscreen wiper action through the feet as we move. If this is a little bit too much for you, you can narrow the stance, draw one leg towards you and rotate through the hip, windscreen wipering foot, okay? However, if you can, just roll through that position from one side to the other. An incredible exercise for the hips. Amazing. From there, we're just going to bring ourselves into a cross-legged position, and we're just going to relax those legs down. Again, the goal here is to be able to sit in this position nice and comfortably with the legs grounded. If you need to place the hands down behind you to support you, you can. Okay, but I want you to be grounded to those seam bones and lengthen through the spine. Okay, so from here, we're going to hinge through the hips. Okay, and then we're going to melt down through the upper body. So we hinge through the hips and then we melt down through the upper body. And we breathe out nice big full breaths. We draw ourselves back up and out of that, and then we lengthen through the spine. Okay, we do it again. The first thing we do is hinge through the hips. Okay, so like we do in a standing position, we tip forward through those hips, and then we're going to soften down through the upper body. Breathe. With your breath out, just allow the body to melt down towards the ground. Bring ourselves back up and out of that, and then we're going to switch the legs. So we're folding them, we're crossing them the other way. It will feel a little bit strange, but we want to create balance through the body. Round through the seat bones, lengthen through the spine. If we're in this position, the goal is to get it nice and tall, okay, and upright. We're going to hinge through the hips, and then we're going to soften through the upper body. Breathe out nice big full breaths, just allowing the body to relax down towards the ground. And then you roll that back up into that nice tall seated position. Okay, and then we'll do exactly the same again. So we hinge through the hips, we soften through the upper body, and we breathe out a nice big full breath. Bring ourselves up and out of that. And then we're going to take the legs out in front of us, knees bent, grounded through the feet. Okay, and we're just going to place those hands down behind us and set the shoulders in a really nice position. Okay, so there's one of two things we can do here. Okay, we can focus. I'm going to break the exercise down and then I'm going to put it together. Okay, so what I want you to try to do, okay, so you can adjust the position of the feet, the legs to help, but we're going to try and bring one foot up and hook the foot over, like we would with the figure 4 stretch and release. Okay, so you can assist that yourself with the arms. Okay, again, you can create a bit more extension through the other leg if you need to. Okay, but just get yourself into that position. Okay, nice and strong through the shoulders. And I just want you to do a couple more repetitions, getting yourself in and out of that position. Okay, and then one final transition before we move on to the next part of the exercise. Okay, so breaking down the exercise into this upside down W position. Okay, shoulders in a strong position. We're going to lift, we're going to press down to the hands and the feet, lift the bottom up towards the sky, and then lower that down. Each repetition, we reset the shoulders. If that's too much, you can just press down through the hands, okay, and set those shoulders in a nice position, okay? And once you're pressing down and pressing the hands down into the ground, you're loading the shoulders, okay? You get to determine the range of movement, so it might be that you actually lift the bottom an inch or two, okay? For our level 3, the goal is to be able to lift that bottom off the ground and lower it. Shoulders in a good position, feet are grounded, glutes are working. Okay, so that's the breakdown, 2 parts of the exercise, yeah? Now, you can focus on whichever part you want to, okay? Or you can take yourself into the position where one leg is hooked over, okay? And then from there, we're going to lift the bottom to the sky and then lower that down, reset the shoulders. So remember, you can do any part of this exercise. You don't have to put it all together like this. Did you stop it? Okay, and we're going to do that once more before we switch to the other side, obviously. Okay, so just lift up and out of that. Give the shoulders a nice little wiggle and a rest before we take it on to the next side. Okay, so the other side now. So remember, utilize what parts of the exercise you need to make this doable. Okay, break it down, do it all, it doesn't matter. Okay, so the other side now, we get that nice strong position. Take the form with the legs, and then we lift the bottom, the sky, and then we lower that down. Reset the shoulders, lift up through the bottom, and we lower that down. It's a single-sided exercise, so you might find that one side feels a little bit different, a little bit easier, more challenging. We go a little bit tighter. Okay, we lower that down, and then we bring both feet grounded, we relax the shoulders, and we're just going to hug the knees so we've got that nice rounding through the upper back. A couple of nice big full breaths, relaxing through the neck and the jaw, rounded through those feet. And from there, we're just going to swivel those legs round into the 4-point kneeling position. Okay, and we're going to lift through one foot, and we're going to rotate the foot out to the side and draw back to center. And we alternate feet. So we lift the foot, we rotate it out to the side. Okay, so you can see here that we're rotating through the hip. Really great for rotation through the hip. Really good for release around the glutes and the piriformis. So this muscle group here. Really good for release through our pelvic floor as well. Okay, so if we're carrying any tension through there, really nice just to rebalance. Do one more. Then we're going to place the toes down onto the mat, roll onto the balls of the feet. If we can keep it in this crouch position for a moment, then great. If not, you can take it into a standing position as efficiently as you possibly can. This crouch position gives us a really nice curve through that lower back, so a nice release through there. Okay. From there, we're going to bring ourselves into the standing position, and we're going to do an exercise to work on release through the hamstrings, also really good for the sacroiliac joints. Okay, so we're going to stagger the stance, and the front foot, we're going to lift the toes up. Okay, so that's our starting position. Okay, if you need a little bit of comfort under the heel, you can place it under a blanket or a cushion. Okay, this is our start position. So from here, we're going to take the arms, and we're going to imagine we are scooping down towards the heel, and then we bring that back up. Okay, so we're scooping down, we bring it back up. So if you're not sure, take a look at what I'm doing. Palms facing the sky, I'm scooping down towards the foot, and then bringing that back up. And we scoop down towards the foot. We bring that back up. I'm going to do that once more. We scoop down towards the foot. We lift that back up. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So it's a staggered stance. We shift the weight onto the back foot and leg so that we can lift toes of the front foot. Okay, so think about a nice strong position here before we move. The palms are facing the sky, and then we're going to draw those elbows back slightly, and we're going to scoop down towards the foot, and then we bring that back up. Okay, we scoop down towards the foot, we bring that back up. Amazing. We scoop down towards the foot, we bring it back up. We're going to do that once more. We scoop down towards the foot, we bring it back up. We take it into a narrow stance, glide the hands down to the knees, and we're just going to circle through those knees. And as we do that, we try and take it into a deep knee bend. And then we're going to rotate round to the other side. Scoop that round. Fantastic. Once more. And then we'll bring it into that standing position. We're just going to take the feet hip width or shoulder width apart. Okay, and we're going to do the exercise we did near the beginning of the session. We're going to hinge through the hips and then push the hips forward. We hinge through those hips. We push and forward. Hinge through the hips. Push and forward. And forward. Once more. Forward, and then from there we're going to bring ourselves back down into the 4-point kneeling position, and we're going to do a little bit of cat-cow for nice release through the spine. Okay, so belly button to the sky, bridge through the shoulders, tuck the tailbone under, and then we go the opposite way. Belly button down, tailbone back, lift through the chest. The creases of the arms near the elbows, if we can rotate them slightly so that they're facing forward, we set the shoulders in a nice position. And up we go. If you're not sure what to do with that, just focus on the cat-cow, don't worry. Okay, it will come at some point again. Tailbone back, lift through the chest. Up we go into the cat. Belly button to the sky. Lift up through the chest bone. Tuck the tailbone under. And down into the cat. Lift through the chest. Belly button down. Tailbone back. Once more. All the way up. Up, 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 up. And then into that cow. And then from there, we're going to just sit it back into that child's pose position. So the goal with the child's pose position is to be able to take the bottom towards the heels and have those arms out in front of us. However, if you need to modify this, then you can. You can draw the arms down by your side. If you want to offload the knees a little bit or the feet, you can lift the bottom away from the heels and rest the head on the hands. Alternatively, find a nice comfortable position because we're just going to take a moment to breathe. Some nice big full breaths. And I want you to take 4 of your deepest, fullest breaths and just relax the body down towards the mat. So from there, we're going to bring ourselves up and out of that, and we're going to take ourselves down onto our back. So we're going to take hold of the hamstrings, roll down onto the mat and hook the knees to your upper chest. Give them a little wiggle, massage that lower back into the mat. And then from there, we're going to take hold of either the lower legs or the ankles of the feet. And we're going to encourage the knees to move out to the side. So from there, we're going to take the feet down onto the ground. We're going to work through the shoulder bridge. We'll start with a normal shoulder bridge, then we'll add a progression in. So the first thing we're going to do, ground the feet, round the shoulders, scoop the tailbone under and flatten the lower back to the mat. We lift up through the pelvis to the sky, squeeze through the glutes at the top and make sure the feet remain grounded. And then we roll everything down, and we're mobilizing through the spine. And then we go again, scoop under, pelvis to the sky, squeeze through the glutes at the top, and then we roll it down. Okay, we're going to do one more of those. Scoop under, lift the pelvis to the sky, and then we roll it down. Okay, so you can continue with that, or we can add something in. So the progression we're going to do today, a little bit different to what we've done before. Okay, we're going to draw one leg to the chest, and we're going to hug that leg towards us. Okay, and then from there, we're going to lift up through the bottom. Okay, and then we bring it down. So it is quite challenging. Okay, so if you want to ground the arms and lift the leg so that you've got more support, you can. If you want to take it up through the double leg and then do a single leg lift, you can. Okay, so that would look like lifting through one side, lifting through the other side, and then rolling back down. Okay, but alternatively, you're gonna ground the arms, lift the leg, lift the bottom. Our level 3, yeah? Hold that leg towards us, lift the bottom off the ground, and then bring it back down. Okay, so if you're holding that leg towards you, it might not feel like you're getting as great a range of movement. That's okay. Completely normal, yeah? So we're lifting and lowering. I want you to notice the connection of the foot to the ground before we lift up. And we creating an energized movement, but it shouldn't be rushed. We're going to do one more on this side, and then we're going to switch to the other side. Now, the key focus with this is it really activates the glutes, okay? So remember, you can work with whatever variation you want to, okay? So it's whether it's you start with double leg, lift up, and then single leg lifts, or whether you support yourself with your arms on the ground, and it's still a single leg lift, okay? Or you hug the knee to the chest and you lift the bum cheek off the ground, or you lift the pelvis off the ground. Okay? So really, really good for activating the glutes. Whatever variation you're working on, okay? Allow yourself to challenge your body, but allow it to feel good. I'm going to do one more. And from there, we're just going to put both knees towards the chest and then just wiggle them and massage that lower back into the mat. Okay, then we go the opposite. We're going to straighten through the legs, take the arms overhead and lengthen through the whole body. And if we can just gently draw the belly button towards the spine, we can get that nice little bit of release around the abdominals and the rib cage. I quite just like to just use one hand just to follow the line just underneath the rib cage, and you know, you can actually feel if there's any areas of tightness. From there, we take the arms out to the side. We're going to bend the knees and ground the feet. Okay, so our level 1, and you're all going to work through each level with me, and you can stop at any point and stick with a certain level. Level 1, purely about mobility. You roll the knees to the side and then draw back to center, and the feet are grounded. Okay, so we mobilize from one side to the other, roll through that pelvis, and draw back to center, and over to the side. So this is really focusing on mobility and release. And if we want to take it to the next level, And we draw the knees to the chest. Legs work separately to support one another. So we lower one leg, the other one follows. Then the top leg draws back to center, the other leg follows. So we're really supporting the spine. And we're grounding the shoulders. It's a nice controlled, fluent movement. And we don't allow those shoulders to be dragged up off the ground. Okay, so level 3, the legs work together. And we move more towards a core stabilization exercise. So you can work at whatever level seems right for you or feels right for you. Remember, you can utilize the breath. So when you're loading the body, that nice breath out is really useful, that dragon breath out. If you was a dragon, you'd be breathing fire. If you've been working at level 2 or 3, place the feet back down. And we're just going to do a couple of repetitions each side of the feet grounded, lowering the knees to the side. The level 1 where we're working purely on mobility and release. And from there, we're going to take ourselves over onto our side. So if you've got a cushion, you can use that to support your head if you would like. We're going to untuck the underneath shoulder and the arm is out at eye level, knees and hips stacked. Okay, and we're going to do the open book. So the top hand comes forward. We're going to glide it forward past the bottom hand, and then we're going to open the book. Okay, so we rotate that around, and then we close the book. So if that's too much for your shoulder, then a variation is you draw the hand back, so draw the bow and arrow back, you keep the hand close to the body, close to the chest and the shoulder, okay, and you don't extend the arm out. Yep, so you reach forward, you draw the hand back, close to the body, you lead with the elbow. Otherwise, we're going to glide forward, hand comes up and over, and we open the book. And then we close the book. If you want to anchor the pelvis a bit more and get a bit more range of movement, you're going to straighten the underneath leg and keep the top one bent so it's anchored. Okay, and we do exactly the same. We reach forward, we open the book. If that knee lifts up, that top knee lifts up from the ground, don't worry. But the goal is to be able to do that with the pelvis securely anchored and not moving. Remember, that's optional. You can just keep both knees bent and hips stacked if that feels better. So we're opening that book, closing the book. We're going to do one more. From there, we're going to stack the hips, knees are bent, and we're going to use, we can either use the arm to support the head or place the head on a cushion. This top arm, we're going to place a hand in front of us to help stabilize. And then we're just going to do some movement with this top leg. And we're going to move it through rotation. So we're going to lift the leg up slightly. Okay. And then we're going to lift the knee towards the sky. So we're rotating through the hip. Okay, from there we go the opposite. The knee draws down and we take the foot towards the sky. Okay, we go again. So the knee comes up towards the sky and then the knee draws down and we take the foot towards the sky. So we're looking at rotation through the hip. Okay, it might feel a little bit unnatural or a little bit awkward. Okay, but it's just about practicing this movement. Really great for some glute engagement. Really great for hip mobility. Knee to the sky, foot to the sky. Don't worry too much about what the rest of the body's doing. I just want you to focus on this. Just really getting used to this movement. You relax that down and then we're going to switch to the other side. Okay, so the first thing we do is opening the book. So you can place your head on a cushion. The underneath shoulder is untucked and the arm is out in front of us, knees bent, hips stacked. We glide the top hand forward, we reach it all the way forward, and then we're going to open the book. And then we close the book. So if that's too much for the shoulder, we glide it forward, then keeping the hand towards close to the body, we lead with the elbows as if we're drawing a bow and arrow. Okay, that just offloads the shoulder a little bit, but we're still able to get that nice movement, nice opening to the chest, nice rotation to the rib cage. Okay, so if it feels good, we open through the book. If you want to anchor the pelvis more, you straighten the underneath leg, the top leg remains bent. Okay, and glide it forward. We open the book and remember it's okay for that top knee to lift a little bit. Okay, don't worry too much about that. Okay, open. It's a really good way of mobilizing the spine as well. Maybe one more of those. We're going to support the head either by a cushion or with the arm, and then top hand we're going to place down in front of us. The focus is going to be on movement through the hip. Okay, so we're just lifting that leg up a little bit. Okay, so top leg's lifted up a little bit. The first thing we do is rotate that round so that the knee is drawing up towards the sky, and then from there we draw the knee down and we point the foot towards the sky. Okay, knee to the sky, foot to the sky. And don't be overly concerned with, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Just think about how it feels. What move are you getting your movement through your hip? Are you engaging and working through your glutes? Slow, steady, control. You might get a little bit of shifting through the pelvis. That's all right. Let's try and focus on that movement through the hip. Do that once more. And we relax that down and we take ourselves to where lay onto our back. We're going to straighten through one leg and ground that hip and leg. We're going to draw the other knee to the chest. Using the opposite hand, we're going to draw the knee across the body. We take the other arm out to the side, and then we use the leg as a lever, and we just roll through that pelvis. So we get this lovely release down to the glutes now. We've worked super hard for us today. We breathe. There should be no compression through the groin area, so just adjust your position if you need to. And then we're going to switch to the other side. The first thing we do is ground the hip and the leg, draw the knee to the chest. Using the opposite hand, we draw the knee across the body. We take the other arm out to the side. And just hold that position. Breathe. And then from there, we just take ourselves into a nice comfortable position. You don't have to stay perfectly still. You can stretch, you can move. But I just want you to try and disconnect from everything that's going on externally, and we just focus. We're going to try and keep our focus on our breathing pattern and relaxation. So the perfect opportunity to create a state of calm in the body and the mind. The first thing we do is just notice our breath through the nose, throat, down into our chest and lungs, all the way down to our tummy and our pelvis, all connected to the breath. And as we breathe in, I want you to imagine you're filling your body with air like a balloon, so we get a gentle rise through our tummy. And then as you breathe out, we're allowing the body to relax down towards the ground. Now I want to notice how your body feels. So how it feels through your feet and ankles, the knees and hips, your tummy, and the very center of your chest. Feels through hands and wrists, the elbows and shoulders, the neck and jaw, the muscles of your face, and your eyes and forehead. So if you've noticed any area of discomfort or tension, you're going to focus on that area and use your breath to just help create some relaxation through there. Remember that deep breath out, where we're just allowing the body to melt down to the ground. Notice the connection of your body to the ground. We're just going to subtly increase the length of the breath out. So an incredible way of activating the parasympathetic nervous system takes the body into a state of relaxation and calm. So a longer breath out. Gonna give the fingers a wiggle, toes a wiggle. We're gonna open our eyes. And then when you're ready, we're gonna bring ourselves into a seated position. We're gonna take the legs out in front of us, the hands down behind us, and then lift and open through the chest. Give you a nice big full breath to finish. And you're done. And still.